Hey everybody, we have a special treat for you today. Coming up next, it's Vortix versus Sting. So please help me welcome to the stage, first up, from Team Karante, Vortix! And playing against him, his opponent from Western Wolves, Sting! Vortix, I want to know, how familiar are you with your opponent?
I played with him on IEM Singapore, and he won me. So I guess I know a lot of him. But I have learned since then, so we will see.
This is a revenge match, ladies and gentlemen. Sting, how well do you know Vortix?
보틱스에 대해서 아는 게 있는지?
그냥 잘은 모르겠고 이번 게임을 이겨야 된다는 건 알아가지고 무조건 스타일을 모르더라도 이길 거예요.
He actually doesn't know him, he doesn't know his playstyle, but he's sure he can win this.
He's claiming ignorance, so we will see who knows who and who will never forget who at the end of this match. Vortix, Sting, would you please shake hands? Good luck, gentlemen. Back to you, analysts.
All right, well, Vortix and Sting, it's going to be a really awesome match here, and this is actually a really important one for Sting. He's been a bit down in his group, his results haven't been fantastic here, but he's still been playing at a reasonably high level, and I think he still has a chance to progress from his group. He needs to make sure he wins out his remaining matches. Can he do it against Vortix?
Yeah, it's absolutely essential that he wins out at this point. Vortix in a similar position, but less likely to advance even if he were to win his two remaining sets.
Yeah, I feel like Sting really needs to win. I think if he loses, he's just out.
Yeah, that's very likely.
It's probable. I haven't done all the calculations yet, but certainly if Vortix loses it, he's completely out, because even if he wins his remaining sets, he needs other results to go in his favor so that he can advance through on map score, right? Which is the only reason he's not mathematically out yet. So Vortix, unfortunately, not having a great time here at the World Championship Intel Extreme Masters. But of course, it's the culmination of so many different events and players coming here on ranking points. There are no easy games at this point. Everyone is ridiculously good, and the results might not be going his way, but he's been playing all right. Let's see if he can try and pull one back, though, against Sting. That's going to be pretty tough.
Yep, for sure. I'm not really sure. I expect to see similar things from Sting that we saw against Snoot,
Yeah,
right?
I guess.
Yep. But I don't really know what to expect from Vortix. I haven't seen a CeBIT at all in Heart of the Swarm.
It's a little bit of a mystery, of course. New game, new rules, and new strategies. Sting, I guess we wouldn't necessarily bet against an Eco 2-Axe at some point, because he does love that kind of play. And I think he did that against Vortix in IEM Singapore as well. So he's definitely something he's very familiar with, and of course he can transition to some very strong plays, which we analyzed in his previous games. But this is the World Championship, it's a different game as well. Vortix can try and go for macro play, but if he does, he needs to make sure he maintains his scouting and his map presence.
Yeah, I feel like Sting has been doing really well with denying all scouting from the Zerg. We saw it against Snoot. He basically won 2 games because of denying scouting. And he really seems to like early aggression, and even he plays a little bit cheesy, I would say. Or not really cheesy, but yeah, really focused on the early aggression, doing a lot of damage. Getting the 3rd command center a bit later than most Terrans do nowadays. Nowadays, most Terrans been getting Widow Mine's 3rd command center. So yeah, he's a bit of a different Terran to play against. Might be in his favor against Vortix.
Yeah, I would definitely expect to see some kind of 2-base or 1-base pressure before he goes into additional command centers. We do see some Terrans right now favoring kind of CC first, barracks, gas, factory, CC. That's kind of your standard macro opening. It gets you relatively fast Hellions, relatively early 3rd, decent map presence, but it's not the kind of build that Sting seems to enjoy. He's not the kind of player that's waiting until he gets to 3 bases to make a timing, and he's figured out, okay, I take my 3rd and 4th gases at this point, then I add my double armories, then I go 5th and 6th gases. He's more like, okay, well, I'm going to make some Reapers, then I'm going to make some Hellions, and then I'm going to attack you. And then after that, I'll probably make some Siege Tanks and some more Hellions, and then I think I'll attack you again. And then at some point I'll build a third command center, but I'll probably attack you while I'm doing that as well.
Yeah. the relentless aggression. We'll see how Vortix deals with it, guys, as the players are in the lobby, and we're getting ready to throw it over to your commentators for this best of 3. We have Apollo and Kalaris.
Thanks very much, guys. Welcome back to the commentary desk with myself, Kalaris, and Apollo. We have now Vortix versus Sting. And if my money really is on Sting here being very aggressive from the get-go with the new tools that Terran has available.
I think Sting's going to win 2-0, as simple as that. Is his comeback. He started off the group 0-2. He then went on to beat Snoot to go 1 win, 2 losses. And now is the chance to go 2-2. And that's what I think is going to happen here against Vortix, who is 0-3 in the group as well, just like we saw Snoot. Vortix, like his brother, not having a good tournament here in the Intel Masters World Championship. But Sting, it's all about this guy right here.
Yes, it is, and he is going to be spawning up in the top right-hand position as Western Wolves Sting. And spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner here as our blue Zerg currently out, but can he stifle the run of Sting? He goes by the name of Carontes Vortix.
I'm backing Sting here. I did tweet just a little bit ago that he's a very cute little guy.
He is.
Round face, sweet voice, innocence. And I think he's not going to show innocence in his gameplay, though, that's for sure. I think he's going to come out wanting to kill. We saw before, he opened 2 ranks against Snoot, won that a little bit of an awkward game there. And then the second game, he opened up Reapers. We'll see what he's going to do here on Daybreak, a much larger map. He did play mech from opening Reapers into expanding, into Hellion, into Banshee. His harassment was amazing, dropping Hellions left and right, coming in with Banshees from different angles. I think Sting is definitely looking to grab third. I mean, going 0-2 and then trying to advance from that position is difficult, but it's possible.
Yeah, going for what seems like a very, very similar build here, going for that refinery so that he can probably get those Reapers out pretty fast here to put on some pressure from Vortix. Vortix, meanwhile, actually opening up with spawning pool first and not hatchery first, so being a little bit wary against Sting here, as he's probably predicting that, you know, he's as aggressive as we predicted him to be.
Absolutely. I mean, going spawning pool first is it's changed over recent, of course, with Heart of the Swarm. It always, every game, 99 to 100% of the time, you go hatchery first. But against Terran in Heart of the Swarm nowadays, is they always open Reaper. So going for spawning pool first, you can get that queen out first, you can get that queen to defend it, and then start to creep spread to start to enable you to connect both bases super early on. And it nullifies the fact that, you know, the Reaper's an opening for Terran. And if you think about how Terran usually open in Wings of Liberty, is 1 barracks command center. How late is the command center now? It's like a good couple of minutes later than it is usually because of this opening. So why would you go hatchery first against that build? You're just kind of equalizing the game.
Yeah, it's true. It's a very, very good point to bring up there. Sting, for now, though, moving out with this 1 Reaper, looking to rally a second one to it. Will he follow through with a maybe even 3rd or 4th? But behind this, I'm very curious to see what he's going to do. Is he going to go straight for factory? It looks like he's just going to go for command center and then maybe factory to follow that up, as that has been very, very favorable for our Terrans thus far.
And the Reaper comes in and is not looking to do any damage here. Or I guess he is looking to do damage, he's just not going to get damage done. The Queen is out, 4 Lings are out, a second Queen is on the way, and a second Reaper as well. And now we're going to see the lift up of the barracks, the switch over to the reactor so the Hellions can come in. And a second wave of harassment will start to build itself up now back at Sting's base. But a good solid opening from Vortix, just deflecting what he knew was most likely coming.
Yeah, catching a few Lings here, maybe tickling them away, does get 1 kill. Will he get any more? Not quite sure, as the second one actually comes along, so a lot of pressure can still be put on by Sting, really forcing his opponent to play very defensively. In fact, getting another 2 queens out already, so going up to 3 pretty darn fast here, just to make sure that no aggression can really do the damage to any drones here.
Yes, it's exactly how Snoot played. The only difference is there's not a spine crawler on the natural. And to be honest, I don't think he really needs it. With the queens he has, he has another one on the way. Creep spread is going to start to move out here. So good opening here from Vortix, and takes a good supply lead as well. But the thing is, can he defend against the follow-up, which is Hellions? Whether we see a Medivac like we did previously or whether it be straight Banshees, both of them offer the aggression over to Sting to capitalize on the fact that Vortix does have a drone lead here.
Yeah, they're extremely, extremely valuable choices that, you know, Sting has full command over, just poking away, and does try and get into the main base. Will for now, but chooses to fall back. as that starport will finish up. I'm hoping that we maybe see a medevac. I do love me some Hellion drops. That's very, very nice to watch. But the Overlord has actually got a really, really good scout here, seeing Hellions, already seeing the starport land on the tech lab, and he should know that there's the potential for that Banshee.
And one of the weaknesses of this build is don't have any Marines. I went Reapers.
Yeah.
So that Overlord's going to stay, probably get out the other side after scouting all this. Not a medevac on the way, though. It is just going to be a Banshee. No cloak being researched, though, which is interesting. And he's not looking to overcommit to that. Widow Mines are being follow-up from this. Well, this can be quite deadly, considering that Reapers can always move back, tank the damage over the Hellions, and then regenerate and come in again.
Yeah, very, very scary. He might have to be forced to use some of that energy on transfuses, which is not where he wants to be spending it right now, at least. He needs those lava injects going down, unless, of course, he were to able to have more than 3 Queens. In fact, he does. He does have 4 across the entire in both bases. So just keeping 3 at the natural for now, poking forwards once again with the Hellions, gets a few Zergling kills, and the amount of pressure that Reaper Hellion can put on this early is actually really ridiculously strong.
Nothing been lost here by Sting. Great micro. Roach Warren Evolution Chamber coming down. This is something that I was a little bit worried about with Vortix. In Wings of Liberty, he was so Zergling heavy. And it looks like he's switching over to Roach play potentially. I wonder, I'm very interested to see which upgrade comes out, but hold that thought for now as the Banshee comes in to increase the strength of this force. A Widowmine as well. Very, very deadly push here.
Very deadly indeed. That one Widow Mine can make a huge, huge difference depending on whether or not he actually gets a big, big pack of those Zerglings early on. He's going to fall back for now. Where did the Widow Mine go? He's gone over to the 3rd by the looks of things.
Yeah, I think so. There it is, preventing that 3rd from going down, at least until an Overseer is brought in or a Spore Crawl is moved down. But I like that Vortix is moving over to range upgrade. Zergling heavy is not a style that's very strong within this matchup. Too many Widow Mines, Hellbats, not so strong here. And we are going to see a Roach Hydra play coming out from Vortix. Roach Hydra, well, along with the Vipers, is incredibly strong, but again, another push here by Sting.
Yeah, trying to close the gap very, very quickly here with those Queens. Will be able to kill
the transfuse.
Oh, dear me, and even gets a lot of lings during all of that as well, toasting them up quite quickly. The Widowmine looking to go into position. It will get on the ramp. Uh-oh.
And it does detonate, killing that Queen off, and great control here by Sting. Reaper, Hellion, Widowmine, Banshee, and Queens are falling down. He's got no units whatsoever. It's just drones, and a couple of them pop out, but immediately get roasted.
Sting playing absolutely phenomenally here, really, really taking advantage of this very, very potent composition early on versus Zerg. Almost 20 supply up in his opponent right now. A lot of lings actually pop right next to the Hellions, but that one Widowmine, he starts strolling on into the main. Oh, the Roaches, just in time.
They were going straight for the mineral line there, but 27 drones, 22 have been killed. Widowmine is going to get picked off again here on the natural. But what a devastating composition, a devastating blow here by Sting, crippling Vortix's income. Despite having 1-1 upgrades for his Roaches, which is going to be great, he can't take a 3rd base right now because there's a Widowmine in the way. His drones are so low. Queens were picked off.
That poor drone.
Sting is just in an amazing position.
Well, bye-bye, drone. See you next time. Poor Vortix. He is so strangled at this point with the armory now going down. Sting transitioning on into mech. This is going to be scary for him to deal with. It's hard enough to deal with. What is that? Oh, sorry, it was a Banshee. It's hard enough to deal with this kind of mech play when you're level pegging. Never mind actually being this far behind.
Yeah, and Vortix may feel he's in a bit of a better position than he actually is because the 3rd he went and scouted is not down. So he's like, well, I guess he's kind of still on 2 bases. That's kind of good news for me. But as soon as that 3rd command center goes down there, he's going to be, of course, feeling the hurt, feeling the pain, and harassment's only going to continue. But 2-2 is on the way. That's the saving grace for Vortix in this game. If somehow we can get back up to a stronger drone count than 39 and hit with 2-2, maybe something can happen, but he's 100% playing from behind because of that early aggression.
He's going to be supply blocked in just a second as a Viking did kill off an Overlord down to the south, so he's any little angle that Vortix needs to get back into this game. He's not being given it too much by Sting. He's really controlling this game, and he does not get another Overlord kill, so pushed back for now. But there's so many tanks in production. There's going to be there's Hellbats already out and about, and that's a scary prospect for this Zerg player.
Armory on its way now, a 2nd armory that is, to continue the upgrades. Remember, Sting is the Singapore Extreme Masters champion. Vortix got 3rd and 4th at that tournament, 3rd and 4th at the first event this season, Season 7. But here at the World Championship, it's all about who Or more so, can Sting continue through? Vortix already in a bit of a bad position, being 0-3 in his group. If Sting's able to win this, it would put him at 2 wins, 2 losses, and then he'd have to go into a deciding game against Soke, I think, to decide who goes through.
Yep, it's very, very close right now with Violet and Mana sitting at the top of that group. As for now, more Hellbats in production here, 4 at a time now. These Hellions might get a little bit destroyed. As for now, they're going to head on out, but he still doesn't know about any Thor production. He doesn't still know about the full extent of his opponent's macro, which is a little bit of a bad spot for him to be in, but going up for a very, very quick hive to get 3-3 out to complement Roach Hydra as quickly as he can.
Yeah, and also the addition of Vipers is something that's going to be so crucial here to land the Blinding Cloud on these mech units. He doesn't have any melee. He has a couple of units here, but if he lands the right Blinding Clouds here, he could easily win the game, but it's so far away. The hive is only halfway through. We're about to have a roughly +1 timing attack, I guess, but 2-2 for Roach and Hydras is going to be completed. It's going to make his Roach Hydras a lot stronger despite being much, much behind in terms of army supply, but there's still going to be these tanks in position.
Yeah, and I mean, behind this, he's taking an extra 2 base, so Sting feels so comfortable, not only to be able to pile on the pressure, but also extract so much economical advantage behind that. Just sharking around right now, making sure he's covering all the angles, and from that point on, Vortix here, he has to be preparing phenomenally. He has to try as best he can to deal with this such a strong mech force.
So it's quality versus quantity in this game, with Vortix heading over to Vipers, just 3. 3-3 is on the way here. And his economy is stinging a lot compared to Sting's here, with the 4th base and 5th on the way at the same time here. 200 supply. Remember, Sting can very easily expend this army in trade-off.
He's going to go for the engagement, running on in. The siege tanks are all controlling so much space, taking out a lot of Roaches and Hydralisks at the very, very get-go. Even SCV's in here to actually start repairing. The 3 Vipers are popping in just a second, but they don't have enough energy to really make something happen here. This is going to be very hard to hold on to.
What a timing from Sting. We're going to see Blinding Cloud come down in a couple of minutes, but it may be too late. If this 3rd falls, it will be too late, and Sting with great position here.
100 energy does get 1 Blinding Cloud down, but I don't think it's going to be really enough here, as even the PDD on the way to soak up a lot of that damage. So much DPS. GG.
Yeah, Sting playing from a great lead throughout that game there. Vortix playing from behind. And Vortix just never had the right amount of time. That early aggression, that early harassment, put Vortix so far behind. You just can't drop down to 27 drones compared to 53. It's not recommended.
Apollo's right. He is cute. Look at him. Anyway, guys, we're going to send it over to the analysis desk to see what they think about game number 1.
All right, guys, that was a pretty decisive game number 1 there in Sting's favor, and that really came off of that early game aggression we saw with that Reaper sort of Hellion Banshee kind of composition he had. Talk us through the openings, guys, and what led to that attack taking place.
Well, I mean, that was his build order, so that's kind of what led to it.
Sorry, what I mean is when the attack actually got there, I think we're actually going to be heading into the replay and taking a look at that there. But
in a moment. We're not quite there yet. But basically, this is Reaper expand into Hellion Banshee, and the Reapers just stay alive. It's very similar to like if you had done a 1-Rax expand and gone Hellion Banshee after it. And the main faults here, now we can jump into the replay. What the issue was that was so bad for Vortix was he was not building Spinecrawler, and when he added his Roach Warren, it was pretty late. It was like, in Wings of Liberty, the Hellions will come around this time, 7, 7:15, 7:30, and the Banshee follow-up will be shortly thereafter. And so I think if he had seen a 1-Rax expand into Hellions, Vortix would have been prepared for this. He would have gotten the Roach Warren in time, he would have built the Spore Crawlers, he would have been a little more active. Well, he did scout it, so he knew that there was a Banshee coming. But he probably would have done something a little bit differently. I'm not sure exactly why he didn't make his Roach Warren a little bit earlier, but I think maybe he's just not familiar with this timing, familiar with how you can transition out of your Reapers into this Hellion Banshee composition. I'm going to fast forward a little bit and wait for him to poke back in, because that's really the deciding moment in this game. And the other thing that was really confusing is, notice right now, his Roach Warren's done. He started Roach Speed.
+1, And
we're going to take a look at the production tab, see what he builds to defend this. So here the Queen's doing a decent amount of damage, but it's really hard to fight Banshees when you're only up 1 Queen. What he really wanted to do was move this Spore Crawler out a little bit further, and here we see 12 Lings being made. Lings are not the answer here. I'm not sure why. I guess Vortix is just not playing so good today, but it was really sad to see because I felt like he had great chances to defend this and put this into a longer macro game if these 20 Lings that he made had just been roaches. And then
only now the 6 roaches, so it looks like he just, it's just a little too little too late. It felt like if those 10 initial Lings would have been 5 roaches, he would have lost drones, no doubt, but it wouldn't have been all of his drones at his natural like now.
Yeah, and the big thing there again is controlling that space outside of your natural so that you can push your Spore Crawler up far enough to control the ramp away from your natural towards the Watchtower and also the ramp to your third. If you can control that area on Daybreak, then you get a ton more flexibility, a lot more presence just at your base.
Well, I completely agree with that. I mean, at the end of the day, the defense there, especially in the second push, like you said, just looked really inadequate. And the Queens were doing their best to hold off the Banshees, but the ground force was simply overwhelming, and the Queens couldn't do that on their own. A bit more backup would have served him very, very well indeed.
Yeah.
So,
the other great part about if that Spore Crawler was moved up to the just above the ramp to the Watchtower is you're also forcing your opponent to basically attack in a choke. The Hellions and the Reapers have to go up that ramp, and it's only basically 2 by 2 that the Hellions can come up. That makes it much harder for them to deal damage to the Queens. The Queens have a concave against the Banshees. It's just a much easier, much better position to defend from.
For sure.
And I just feel like the Reapers were what kind of made it so that Hellions could... The Reapers push Vortix back, then the Hellions come and push Vortix back, and then more Hellions come, then the Banshee comes. And once the first Banshee is there, you can't really pick up that Spore Crawler and move it. It's just too risky.
Yeah. So what are we going to be looking forward to here? Let's say if Sting does the same build in game number 2, is it going to be as simple as getting an earlier Roach Warren and making sure the positioning of Spore Crawler is that? Or is there anything else he can be able to do?
It's really... You can't say that because you don't know what Sting is going to do. I think rather than focus... I mean, as Vortix, you want to focus on... You don't want to... Sorry. As Vortix, you want to remember your mistakes, you want to learn from them, but you don't want to focus on them. You don't want to obsess on them. It's just, okay, I didn't play as good as I could have. It's over. Let's go into the next game. Let's focus on the next game. Be in that moment and make the best decisions I can at every second of that game.
Exactly. I don't feel like he should just blindly build 6 roaches just because he didn't build them last game. Doesn't mean you're going to need them this game. I think he just needs to play reactive, like Zerg should play. Drone when you can drone. Build units when you should build units.
Yeah, makes sense. What are we likely to see from Sting in this particular game? Obviously, he wants to try and come back. He's doing quite well at the moment, but overall in his group, he's not doing that great. He needs this victory very badly. Are we going to see really quick early game aggression from him here, or do we reckon he's going to sit back a little bit and try and consolidate?
Well, I have seen 3 games of Sting today so far, and game 1 he did 2 Rex 12 Tel. Second game he did a Hellion drop, and this was the 3rd game, so I think we're going to see aggression.
Okay.
I'm based on... Well, he did the same build on Daybreak the both times we saw him.
Yep.
He did 12-12 Barracks on Cloud
Kingdom.
And we're back on Cloud Kingdom.
That's right.
So it seems likely, based on what we know of Sting in this limited amount, that he will do some kind of 2 racks pressure on this map.
Okay, well, let's see if that ends up being the case, guys. We're going to throw it over to Apollo and Kalaris, who will be taking us through this game on Cloud Kingdom.
Thanks, guys. Game number 2 will be Cloud Kingdom indeed. So, Apollo, in terms of TVZ on this map, had much opportunity to play along?
Yeah, played a lot actually from both sides of this. Roach Hydra, just Roach Hydra without taking major losses is great. You know, that's initially what Vortix was probably trying to aim for.
Yeah.
But on the other side of it, Mech is fantastic here. Opening up with aggression towards the third, expanding behind it, using Widow Mines, and just playing Mech in general has become much, much stronger in Heart of the Swarm. And the way that Sting's been playing, I hope to see the same.
We do. So spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner as our Red Terran. Currently 1 game up in this best of 3. He goes by the name of Western Wolf Sting. And spawning up to the top right-hand corner here as our Blue Zerg. Unfortunately for him, out, but he is trying to fight on back. He goes by the name of Caronte's Vortix.
Well, let's find out what's going to happen in this game here. Vortix is out of the tournament. There's nothing that can save him now, even if he wins this series, unfortunately. Sting, though, if he loses this series to Vortix, they're both out. So it's kind of a bit of a misery situation. So Sting, if he does win this map, has the option to advance through in 3rd place. But he has to win his next game as well.
And looks like he's going to put down the rack straight at the front here of his natural in a very, very similar vein to what we actually saw from before, rallying on a SCV right on out there to get a 2nd barracks at 12.
Yeah, interesting choice to go for the 2 barracks here, considering that Vortix did display spawning pool first in the last game. And likewise, is going to do it again here. So, you know, Vortix is in really, really good position here. But Sting made it work against Snoot, but I think that was rather Snoot's mistakes than anything else. So we'll see how Vortix is, you know, going to go ahead and scout it with his drone and how he will react here.
Well, I think for the most part, Vortix is going to have a lot of experience against 2 Raxes on this map, because this is actually all his brother Lucifron does on this map 100% of the time versus Zerg. So Vortix should have all the tools capable of dealing with this kind of play.
And drone is not going to get that SCV. It does push it back. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the key strengths that Vortix just has, is being able to play and has played so much with his brother. But neither of them doing that well in Heart of the Swarm at the moment. As we saw that, I say that, but at the same time, on the ladder itself, they're both doing great. But it's just this tournament, neither of them have performed that well, with Lucifron being out on day 1, Vortix out on day 2. But we do have spawn pool first, and we have 3 SCVs making its movement across here. Sting gonna scout this hatchery and be like, well, wait a minute. I guess I'm just going to send these SCVs back, because that's the spawning pool first here. And 6lings are on the way out now for Vortix, and he'll immediately push that back.
Bye-bye, not having any of that as Sting, slightly supply block, but will recover from that spot here, getting another SCV on the way, and probably just going to recuperate the losses that he's incurred here and just go into an expansion play, unless he goes mega wild and goes for a ton of barracks off the back of this, but very, very rare indeed. So we'll see what he wants to do.
Yeah, should be just looking to throw down a command center very shortly here, but definitely continue to build up the Marines and could move out shortly, actually. Take the Xel'Naga Tower, take control of it. He's moving to the back here, expecting an Overlord to come in from this location to scout whether he had thrown down a command center or extra barracks or gas or anything along those lines. And it's a little bit risky, considering there are 6lings out, and they could easily move to the front of the base, but there are more barracks coming down, as you said, which was very rare. If he's able to pick off this Overlord, that's probably the reason why he's doing it. If he's able to get this Overlord and eliminate it, Vortix has no way to scout if there's a command center or not. So Sting's just looking to win it outright now.
Only Sting would have been able to, would have gone for this. He is gonna, and he'll probably end up making it work. His aggression is so good. He actually thrived on these tactics for a long time. And I mean, we've already seen in game number 1 that he can transition onto the macro game very strongly. But this is where Sting's strength lied for a long time.
Oh dear me. I got my face in my palm. This is not good at all, Kalaris. The Marines, there's a Marine on the Xel'Naga Tower making sure that nothing pops up here. There's Marines protecting the 3rd and 4th base. A command center falls down anyway, but with adding on 4 barracks before a command center, that's so many Marines that are going to move across the map. There's no speed. Well, actually, hold on. This Zergling could actually save the day here, depending on how much it sees. It sees a lot of Marines moving across, but he doesn't know if that's the majority of them. Sees a couple more down this right-hand side. Things must be, you know, kind of ticking a little bit in Vortix's head. Why are there so many Marines out? But he's got no defense. He's got 100 gas ready for speed, and that's it.
Slightly supply blocked here. It's going to limit a few of his Marines from coming along, but ideally a Bailing Nest would be very useful right about now for Vortix. As for now, I mean, these Marines are going to head across the map, and that's a lot of pressure coming along. He starts Zerglings now, but that's not that many.
18 Marines versus slow Zerglings. I don't even think there's a single Spine Crawler. The Queens do not have enough energy for Transfuse. If he gets behind the mineral line, this is just going to be a nightmare to deal with.
It really is. The Queens here poising themselves, making sure that nothing can actually happen here, but it looks like those Marines are going to be able to wander right into that mineral line, just moving right out of the range of that Spine Crawler. He's going to start focusing down the hatchery there, and oh dear me, this could be catastrophic. Even the Queen's taking a little bit of barrage of damage, but he's denying so much mining time during all of this as well.
And behind this, he's got 2 command centers up now. Here come the Lings, drones and Queens. How much damage is going to be done?
position. That position is so good here for Sting. Just doing so much damage, so cost effectively behind all of this. More Zerglings plow on out, but still the Marines are alive to get even more kills. A nice transfuse, but he lost 5 workers during all of that.
Yeah, 5 workers, but a pretty good defense there from Vortix, to be honest. He's got his layer down. Roach 1 and Evo, double Evo coming down too. So I wouldn't say it was a success for Sting. He definitely did a lot of damage, but if you look at it, all the Lings traded off. He didn't overbuild Lings. He actually had too little, but the Queens made up for it. So that was probably the best defense possible for Vortix here, with +1 attack and combat shields with a follow-up, double evolution chamber. The way that he's got a Bailey Nest down so early, it's going to be melee upgrades, I feel. You don't need a Bailey Nest if you're going to play Roach, right? So melee upgrades it is. He's going to play a very Ling-heavy style, a Ling-Bailey-heavy style, which is perfect against the follow-up here from so many barracks.
Yeah, and with the layer on the way, perhaps he's actually going to transition into, well, either the Infestors or the Spire tech. Of course, there is the potential for, you know, swarm hosts there, but I don't know whether or not Vortix has been fully comfortable with that kind of play right now, and melee upgrades wouldn't really lend itself to that.
And another mistake that we saw Snoop make, and it may be repeating itself here from Vortix. He's got no scouting on this left-hand side.
And those Marines are going to close that gap so quickly, kill off the Queen, probably force the cancellation, no Banelings there, so to speak, and they just go home.
Yeah, that's a really nice victory there. If Vortix was able to keep that up, he would have maintained his lead, I think, in this game. But that really draws it back in favor of Sting once again with a 7-2 supply lead. Behind this, a factory near completion, so Medivacs will come in. Great scan as well, eliminating all these creep tumors. So, you know, despite Sting not getting the best results from that early attack, he's definitely making up for it here.
Yep. And the infestation pit behind all this does go down for Vortix. So trying to go for that Ling Bane Infestor style, as they do add on a few more barracks here, going up to quite a lot of barracks, in fact, along with that starport. So is that 6 barracks on 2 base? Oh, he is third command center, doesn't he?
Yeah. No, he's on 6 barracks alone here. With tank production, Medivacs coming out very shortly, just a lot of aggression coming out, just a lot of production, minimal amounts of economy here, because he realizes he's in a pretty bad position. But interestingly enough, for Vortix, he's going to play Zergling Infestor. This is what he's so used to playing in Wings of Liberty. It's something that isn't as strong in this game as much, with the use of Widow Mines, Hellbats, and then considering that the fungals change, or the projectile from the Infestors has changed, should I say. It is more difficult to play, but that's where he's comfortable. That's where he had major success in Zerg vs. Terran and Wings of Liberty. That's where he's heading right now.
No point in actually completely discarding that for now, as he will now.
No stim, no micro capability.
Well, yeah, those Banelings are going to be able to connect very easily with centrifugal hooks, but a really nice split, actually, considering all of that has occurred. The Zerglings do try to clean up the scraps, but there's still a few Marines left over to deal with it, but you can't really do much with 6 Marines.
It was army trading versus army. The economy was never really hit there from Vortix. We can easily just go ahead, build 20 more Lings, and go back to drone production again. Or what he can do is stop drone production and continue to build units, because he knows at this point in the game it's approaching 13 minutes. Where is that third base? Is it coming down now, or is it not? So if he continues to build units, he's looking to break that third. If he doesn't, then he's obviously comfortable to continue droning.
And the Medivacs on the way in here, trying to put on a little bit of pressure themselves with those Marines. Stim is nowhere near even completion just yet, though. So those Marines aren't really going to have an easy time, as the afterburners do kick in on that Medivac, looking to put on some pressure in the main, whilst poking even at the third as well. He's doing a good job of stretching him thin, but everything gets obliterated.
Yeah, he's playing really well, but this is Vortix's comfort zone. This is fine. He's so easy. He's so good at defending against this, but well, actually, there's not enough energy on these Infestors, and look at that great pick off there by Sting, launching straight towards him. Doesn't quite get it. But Vortix is used to dealing with this kind of pressure. Obviously, the Medivac speed has changed a little bit, but still, I think he's feeling great. He's got 2-2 on the way, a massive upgrade advantage. And we could actually see, if Vortix wins this game in the next one, they could just eliminate each other from the tournament.
But yeah, they possibly could do here. Sting is, he needs this win as well. He's currently placed 4th, so this is important for him, as Vortix for now is, well, he's doing pretty darn good for himself, but Sting is by no means down and out just yet. He's looking to put on the pressure, and he's actually going for a 3rd command center behind this. This is quite a sizable force that he has moving out.
A massive sizable force. Remember, Vortix didn't know how late the 3rd command center was, so he's probably like, how the hell did you get so many units so fast here? And this is at a fast time. The upgrades are not that good. And to be honest, Vortix Vortix needs time, upgrades, and energy on Infestors, but he's not really getting that now, so he's going to have to fight one way or the other. He can't lose this third.
But he's just moved completely back. I think it's going to go down before he even gets opportunity to. Well, there goes the Infested Terran. Zergling's also flooding in as well. Will he be able to land good fungals? He lands a few, but not on too many Marines. The tanks from the back are doing a pretty darn good job. And during all of that, a lot of energy was expended on spread out Marines.
Yeah, and this may be too much here. This is a bit of an awkward position because, like, what? There's no third down. This is just a two-base play. Oh, great detonation. That third can't go down.
Oh, well played. GG, done and dusted. Sting takes the 2-0.
And if I was to say one thing, you know, to Vortix in that game, what I think that he felt short on was just information. Never knew exactly what was going on. The 4 barracks at the start, even though he dealt with it well, and then this mid-game push. You know, you have to identify that this is coming. If there's no third command center, you don't need a fourth. You just build units. You don't even know that you need to go across 60 drones. You just massive, great army. And imagine if Vortix had known that. If Vortix had known this was coming, he could have made a massive army and just crushed everything and then taken a fourth and then gone back to droning. But lack of information seemed to be the downside there.
It did indeed. So guys, we are going to send it over to the analysis desk after the conclusion of that best of 3 with QXE, Jurosar, and Harston.
That's right, guys. Sting managing to complete the 2-0 victory there, but it didn't look easy at all. I mean, his earlier push into Vortix was quite effective. We saw Vortix actually exhibit great patience. We're going to head into that in just a bit, though, because we're going to first pop over to the stage for a quick winners interview. Rachel has found Sting.
Thanks so much, guys. It seems like against Vortix, you were able to play exactly the style you wanted to play. Did Vortix stop you from doing anything you wanted to do?
지금 두 게임을 봤을 때 스팅 선수가 하고 싶은 대로 딱 맞아 들어간 것 같았는데 게임 플레이를 봤을 때 진짜 스팅 선수가 상대로 이제 뭔가 어려움을 주거나 그런 위기 상황이 하나라도 있었어요?
맨 처음 맵에서 그 화염차랑 벤시랑 사신으로 피해를 못 줬으면 그냥 제가 졌을 것 같은데 그걸 피해줘서 위기가 안 온 것 같고 나머지 게임은 아예 없는 것 같아요.
He says that in the first game he had a little doubt if he could win this because when he went up the ramp of Vortix Natural with Halion, Banshee and Reapers, he thought he couldn't do it, but then he could micro it well and still win the game.
Is there anyone in this tournament that you are afraid of?
이 토너먼트에서 좀 상대하기 싫은 선수가 있나 아니면 좀 무서운 선수가 있나?
그룹에서요?
전체 토너먼트에서.
그냥 일단 IEM 선수들 전부 하고 그냥 그룹에서 만났던 마나 선수도 있고 그루비 선수도 있고 좀 많은 것 같아요. 그냥 무서운 선수들.
He actually is afraid of Mana, Grubby, and all the IEM players.
Any reason why?
이유가 있다면 그 선수들이 무서운.
그냥 잘해요. 그냥 잘하는데.
He says that they are just very, very good.
Well, we can't argue with that. Anyway, we're going to hand it back over to our analysts, Jurosar, Carson, and QXE. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you very much for that, Rachel. We're going to actually be popping straight into the replay here at just before the 8-minute mark where we see Sting pushing into the natural expansion here of Vortix, where Vortix basically has nothing to do until he gets his units out. And he ends up exhibiting great patience here. Let's pop into the replay and take a look at what's going on. Coming up. Okay, cool. But basically, at this point in the game, we've had Sting push out across the map with his initial group of Marines. They were spotted at the watchtower, and this is what happens once he gets to the natural.
Vortix does a good job of pulling his drones away. Really, the key thing here is to not lose the drones. It's okay to lose mining time because of how delayed Sting's command center was to make this push happen. That's really not a big deal. As long as you're not actually losing units, you can still be in a good spot. So Vortix doing a good job of microing his queens. Sting doing a great job. Notice how he puts his Marines in the small choke point so a minimal amount of Zerglings can attack them, making the most of his Marines, forcing a lot of Zerglings out of his opponent, and also denying these gas geysers. which makes it much harder and also distracting Vortix, which I think is actually the most important thing that happens out of here. Notice how much gas Vortix has, and this leads directly into layer, double evolution chamber, all at the same time. Normally you would get the double upgrades before you head into the layer. And I think that, that sets up Sting very well for the next couple of pushes that happen where Vortix is just a little bit on his back foot. He's not really on top of his upgrades, on top of his tech, on top of where he needs to be. And so instead of spending some of his extra actions, his extra focus, taking the map, scouting well, controlling what's going on, he's focusing on regaining his foothold in terms of macro. And those pushes cannot be stopped if you do not see them coming. And that's exactly what we saw happen in that game.
Now, coming off the back of that aggression from Sting there, obviously Vortix held it off, did reasonably well. Some of his tech was a bit late, but he seemed to be, at least for a short time after that, somewhat comfortable. Would you say that at any point after that he was maybe ahead in the game and he could have done something differently to bring the game to Sting?
I like to call games when I'm watching them.
Oh, we know.
To people around me and in my head. Yeah, I called that game. I was absolutely dead set sure that Vortix was going to win it at about the 11-minute mark. And there were a couple reasons for that. His 2-2 was basically Sting was what was effectively a 2-base all-in because of his very, very late third command center. His for sure. No eBay and no second eBay and armory. And Vortix was going into double upgrades basically at the same time that Sting's +1 armor was finishing. And so all Vortix really had to do was know there wasn't a third command center, make as many Lings and Banelings as he could, play defensive with his Infestors. When 2-2 finishes, the game basically ends.
Sure.
Because you can no longer have cost-efficient battles. Marines down, especially when you're 1-1 versus 2-2, tanks don't do anything. They'll kill some Banelings, but you don't even need Banelings at that point. You can literally just Ling Flood, and as long as your opponent is not within a choke point, you will take the battle. And so I was really expecting Vortix to scout a little bit better, see that push coming if he had made a big round of units. And what really killed him at the end was no Banelings. He used a lot of his Banelings with that first Marine push. Sting did a good job of spreading his units out, and then he did not replenish his Baneling count in time for the next push.
So perhaps a better thing to have done is that when he came down the ramp, we were touching on this briefly, and we saw that Sting was pre-splitting his Marines because he spotted the fact that the Banelings might be coming down. It might have been better perhaps for Vortix to just go back up the ramp to his third, and that buys him a little bit of time to get some more units out.
Yeah, I think that would have made a lot of sense. It's still a dangerous thing to do because you're still giving up map control. If your opponent has a whole bunch of Marines parked right outside your third, I mean, he's got the aggression, he's got the tempo in the game. And so it can be very difficult, a very difficult decision as a player to say, okay, I'm just going to let you sit there for about 30 or 40 seconds and wait for another round of Lings or another round of Banelings, and then you go down and you crush him.
I felt like that if Vortix just would have scouted all the pressure that Sting was throwing at him, he would have been in a way better position. Even the initial pressure, he didn't scout it at all. He actually did see it when his Ling went to kill the SCP at the Watchtower, but he didn't respond, just kept on pumping drones. I would have loved to see another Queen, a second Spine Crawler, just any kind of form of defense basically against this push. He lost too many drones because he actually saw it coming. He saw like 15 Marines, and 15 Marines at that point in time indicates a Marine push.
Yeah, I definitely feel like if he had a second Spine Crawler, or the first Spine Crawler had to be a little further, or he had Lings to prevent the run-by. Because the run-by was what was the huge problem. Spine Crawlers are very strong against Marines. But Sting wasn't fighting the Spine Crawler. He was fighting away from the Spine Crawler and then getting poked every once in a while. Especially when you've got the 3 Queens there. Transfuse once or twice on the Spine Crawler, like you're not going to break that with that small group of Marines. But it just felt like Vortix was kind of a little behind Sting every step of the game. Just reacting a little bit slower, a little bit off tempo compared to where he needed to be.
And that's the kind of thing, of course, that can happen to you when you're playing an opponent that's constantly trying to be aggressive, trying to put little pushes here and there to catch you off guard, letting you think that it's okay to maybe macro up a little bit and then hitting you with something that you might not expect. And that's the sort of thing that Sting loves doing to his opponents. Even in games where he's not busy at home macroing up, like we saw there, his command centers were delayed and stuff like that. Those timings that he put out against Vortix really threw him off guard.
for sure.
I think Sting's timings always hit very, very sharp and are very well thought out, but still, Vortix didn't really scout the third either. Just a little Ling there or an Overlord poking in, seeing if there's a command center building would have been such a great help in this game.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we're going to take a break before the next best of 3. But before we do, we just want to remind you very briefly that on Saturday, we will be opening up the Sickest Nerd Baller vote on Facebook. You can head over there and vote for who you think should win a whole bunch of goodies, including an Intel i7 processor, a customized hoodie for the player, which you saw presented to Zaka earlier today on stage.
As well as Nurchio.
Yes, exactly. Yep. And we also going to get Patriot Memory and all sorts of other sponsor goodies, but I think the big one might be this particular custom sprayed 27-inch monitor from BenQ. And we're going to take a little bit of a sneak peek now as to what that involves.